Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Come Let Us Reason Together. I'm your host, Yandea, and joining me, like always, is my co-host, Duane.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Today, we're going to be delving into the topic of sisterhood within the context of race, ethnicity, indigeneity, and I think it's going to be a really good and juicy conversation. We'd love to hear your comments in the chat below as you weigh in as well. I believe, Yan, this all started by a video that you saw on Instagram.
Yes, I was browsing Instagram very shortly. I've actually taken a beautiful social media break, but I was browsing. Actually, I wasn't browsing. A friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine, someone who I considered to be part of my sisterhood, she sent me this clip, and the clip is basically of a melanated woman speaking about why white women either don't know what it is to have sisterhood, or and also like not being in touch with womanhood. And she goes on to speak about, and I'm just paraphrasing here, she goes on to speak about the reasons why she made that comment, which, again, summarizing, have to do with the white woman being raised to have her self-worth in her husband and in the raising of children, and basically like having those two things define what it is to be a woman to her, and not ever getting to know herself, because basically her whole life she's groomed to just be a wife and be a mother, and so that they don't have any aspirations to be really anything more, because they find their self-worth in that. And then because of that reason, there's a lot of, I think she mentioned being like pick me, being like pick me women, and because their whole life is revolving around being picked by a man, right? And then also speaking about how because of this, there's jealousy among white women, and then because of this jealousy, it causes them to not be able to form sisterhood, because it's a constant jealousy and stuff like that, right? Anyways, I read some of the comments on this post, and I was just feeling like, where am I? First of all, she also mentioned, only in the beginning, she mentioned that basically white women are groomed or raised to be super dependent on a man, and melanated women are raised to be like, basically they're like hyper independent. And both of these cause issues for sisterhood. Both of these cause issues for sisterhood. She never got into the whole melanated women being hyper independent, which I would love to hear her take on that. But she only was talking about the white women and them being really dependent on men and being mothers in order to find their self-worth and so on, and that being why they really don't know what it is to be a woman, and also not able to have sisterhood. So anyways, a lot of the comments I was reading, it sounded like most of the women were maybe feminists, they were just talking about like how terrible it is to pretty much just be a mom, or what I mean, like how happy they were to have careers and the fulfillment and this and that. And there's so many, like, maybe, I don't know if I could look for it, and maybe I can share some comments. Actually, let me do that quickly. But I could probably pull it up really quick. Let's see, because I know my girlfriend who sent it to me, and we had like this beautiful talk. Okay, yeah. She says, why I think white women lack sisterhood and aren't in tune with their womanhood. And let me just go in and share with you some comments. So women were saying like, as a white woman, I agree with this wholeheartedly. And nobody hates a white woman more than another white woman. This is being said, comments by mixed white women and melanated women. And yeah, like there's another white woman is saying, when I first came across this post, I was expecting to hear something that I had not heard before. Instead, I heard about something that I have been in and observed my whole life. However, I thought that this was something that all women were taught, and that and the way that all women were conditioned this way. It had never occurred to me that Black women were not taught this and conditioned this way. This is why intersectionality matters when talking about social issues, and especially feminism. And then someone says, growing up in the Caribbean, where community and sisterhood and collaborating and education as your way out and matriarchy are key aspects of our society, I had no idea that white women were taught differently until I entered the work environment in Washington, D.C. and later Brussels. I had never seen such manipulation and duplicity from women directed at other women. To this day, I have to remind myself not to openly embrace or trust any white woman, because Black women go in with sisterhood. Treat your children as we do ours. Look out for the interest of all, but white women easily will betray that. Easily. It's scary. And so there's a whole bunch of talking, right, around this. Now, the funny thing about it is that, I mean, there's so much to unpack, right? And like there's so many comments you have. I've only seen white women agreeing with what the original person agreeing and saying like, yep, that's how it is. We're raised like that, and it's true. I have seen some melanated people saying like, well, we're raised with sisterhood, and we only recognize different when we encounter white people. And I was surprised that the person who did the post was coming from the angle of the basically the education of women from home, even in melanated homes, that was not there. You know what I mean? And that this was like a white thing. So I don't know how much of, and this is the next thing, right? It's like when we're speaking about Black and white issues, I think it's crazy to think that all white people are the same. Because, for example,
generalizations, like
exactly. And
generally not a fan.
And even with what I'm gonna say, it might sound also like a generalization, but there is a key difference to me that maybe it's changed now, but when I was growing up, my friends, because I had a best friend and they were Italian, they were very close to like how we were. Like my Italian friend, I would go to her house and there was not much big difference between her household and my household. You know, yes, culturally, maybe the food we're eating were different, but we had the same, you know, concepts like come sit down at the table together, eat like a family. The mother did this. Her mother was like working, helping the dad, right? And working at home, I believe. Maybe she had a part-time job or something, but she was a homemaker. My mother was a homemaker. She also worked with my stepdad. You know, so yes, different cultures, but I saw the same thing in her household that I saw in my household. We had the same upbringings. Now, compare that to the generations of like, I'm just gonna say like white, not European, you know what I mean? But like white, I guess Canadian. Okay, I'll say Canadians, and also like, you know, second, third generation Black, you know, Black Canadians, people who had their grandmothers were born here, and you know what I mean? They were very different from Caribbean and very different from African, you know? So I feel it's such a big topic to just say that like white women are raised like this and melanated women are raised like that. That's so crazy because we have so much cultural difference, you know what I mean? So I'm just speaking for me. I'm just speaking, and even when I speak for me, I know being 42, there's a younger generation, like maybe a 16-year-old from where I'm from may have a different upbringing now because it's a different time. But from, let's say, like myself going back, like my mom's people and all the way, you know, back, and then going all the way further back to our ancestors, I know for a fact that we were raised to, yes, desire to be mothers, desire to be wives, but it was in no way looked about as something that was negative.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. It wasn't looked at like something that was negative. Nobody looked at it like it was negative. The men didn't look at it like it was negative. Other women didn't look at it like it was negative.
Right.
And there was no jealousy. So this thing about jealousy and competition and all of this, I literally only knew about this stuff when I came over here also and started encountering different people who were brought up differently, right? Now, another thing I want to say about that is that the idea of sisterhood, this woman who was speaking, and I don't know, maybe she has more videos on it or whatever, but just in this video, it sounded to me like she was saying, if a woman's aspirations is to be a wife and a mother, then for some reason, even if that was her upbringing or her teaching or her programming, for some reason that would stop her from being able to form sisterhood. And the thing is that, let's just say, I'll take it back to my indigenous people, right?
Yes.
Let's go as far back as we could go. The men hunted. The women literally stayed back in huts and took care of the children, gathered food, you know, maybe did some light fishing in the ponds, nothing deep in the canoes, right? Light stuff around the place. Took care of the children, made clothing, did different things around the place. In that time that the men were not there, the women were bonding.
Yes.
The women were teaching each other. The women were helping each other become better mothers, better cooks, better this, better that, giving them secrets, how to please the man, how to do this, how to understand their body.
Yes.
All of this was happening, right? How to even manipulate, okay? How to do secret little things. This is the beginning of sisterhood, right?
Yes.
Community, family, villages. This is it. When the men were away, the women were left to themselves to bond and to help each other. They learned very easily and very quickly that if they were able to put their skills together, their resources together, all of their families can flourish.
Yes.
The men learned that if they go out and work as a unit, they could catch more, they could bring home more, they could, by working together, they could carry back more to the village. You understand? So it made sense for the men to unite to bring back more to the village, and it made more sense for the women to unite to make the best use of the resources to take care of their children and to take care of the men who go out to bring the resources, right?
Yes.
This is the beginning of brotherhood, of sisterhood.
And sisterhood. Yep.
And so when you had one woman who was sick or just delivered, you had the other women taking care of her other children.
Exactly.
They were cooking, they were cleaning, they were tending to her because it was her turn to be in that state. Right? If a woman wasn't coming into milk and she couldn't breastfeed her baby, another woman was breastfeeding her baby.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like this is sisterhood, right? And so when I hear somebody speak of like a woman, it's like a woman can't know who she is if she has aspirations to be a wife or to be a mother. It's like our ancestors did that. And the missing thing is that, and I feel like I'm talking so much because I know you have stuff to share, but but the missing thing for me is that why do we always think that it sometimes comes to me like the things we always want to say, like the white people do this and the black people do that, but it's like let's look at whether what we're saying we do or don't do, is it harmful to us? Is it beneficial to us? Because on that post, there were so many women talking about, it's like unless a woman has a career, she can't know herself. Unless a woman is able to go and get this degree or that degree, she can't know what it is to be a woman. Unless she slept with many men, she doesn't know her sexuality. It's like, what?
Not the case at all.
And so the fact is that, let's bring it back to sisterhood. A lot of women understood a lot about being a woman because they were in sisterhoods, not because they were sleeping with men, because they were raised with the older women. The older women taught them all the tricks.
Exactly.
The older women taught them all the tricks, so that by the time they got married, they knew where their spots were. They knew what to do with a man and how to please a man and how to keep a man and how to get a man. They knew it all. That was taught to them by the older women in their village, in their community, in their sisterhood. And so, no, I don't think that a woman needs to be able to, it's like the order of things. You get what I'm saying? I can see how, one, by taking, in let's say the melanated community, from the time that structure, because she talked about white women being raised to be dependent. Well, women in our indigenous people, in our ancestors, we were raised to be dependent on men also.
Right.
We were. But in being raised to be dependent on men.
Interdependent.
Exactly. You're also being raised to be dependent on who? Women also. It's not like, you get what I'm saying? And it's like all the women are depending on the men. All of them. And all the men are depending on the women. Exactly. So like you said, interdependent. Now, what happens when you start messing with that? What happens when the woman is no longer looking to the man? Right? The woman is no longer looking to the man. So now she has someone else to look to. And in there is where I believe the breaking down of sisterhood started happening, because back in the day, you had the melanated man. He'd go to work and he'd get he'd do his thing. But then what happens when work starts becoming hard for him to get?
Right.
What happens when the government steps in and says, you know what, we'll give you money if he's not in the home? Right? Yeah. And then you have now one sister who has, one sister who doesn't have. Like the one sister who wants to keep her husband in the home and keep her family together, she's now struggling because she doesn't have enough money. The other woman who decided to break up her home and have more money and not have the man in the home, she's now celebrated because now she's successful, because she's providing via the government all these things for her children. That it's not, her man isn't doing it because he's lazy. He's doing it because the system is against him to make him not be the better choice.
Exactly.
So now you have a separation between ideas, right? One set of women saying, I'd rather have less and have my family intact. And another side that may be saying, you know what? We need these things and we have to find a way to work around it, but you can't be home when these people show up.
Exactly.
And then it's also breaking down the men.
Yeah.
So then what's happening to brotherhood? And then what's happening to sisterhood? Because before, like I said, if one woman was struggling, if that family was struggling, they had the sisters to lean on. The brothers were leaning on each other. Do you get what I'm saying? It was a whole very strategic breakdown of the family to break down the community.
Yes.
And absolutely. Sisterhood and brotherhood breaking down is all intertwined right there. I kind of feel, to be honest with you, I kind of feel like, and it's just a thought I had today. I'm like, I think the first thing that was broken down was probably brotherhood and sisterhood. before it was even able to really get in there, because I'm trying to figure out, like, if the brotherhood was, if it was unable to penetrate the brotherhood, like if the brothers could not be broken down and they stayed band together.
Yeah.
How powerful could the government have actually been if the brotherhood decided to say, you know what, we're gonna stick together. So if this means all of us have to purchase these 2 houses and find a way to live together, but we're gonna be there for our children. If the woman said, you know what,
exactly,
we don't mind you moving in and you could live in the basement and we'll live, or let's our families live together, but our husbands are staying in the house.
Yes.
We will share, we will pull our stuff together. You see what I'm saying? It's like, had the idea or had they really seen the importance of the unity between themselves, like the sisterhood has to stay together because it helps the brotherhood be strong. The brotherhood stays together because it helps the sisterhood to be strong. They're not separate.
Yes.
Right? But then along comes different things throughout history. But now when you hear about sisterhood and so on, it's like feminism.
Yeah. Picks on a completely different tone.
It's not, it has nothing to do with our indigenous ways at all. Like, at all.
Yeah.
Like, sisterhood was about the family, protecting the family, and guess who's a big part of the family? The man.
The man.
The man.
Exactly.
You guess what? You cannot have children without a man.
Yep.
You can't do it. You cannot have children without a man. You need sperm. You need sperm. You could be 2 lesbians, you could be whatever, but guess what? You still need sperm. That comes from a man. So it's like, I just don't understand the hatred that is being put towards men. I don't understand why men are wanting to have a man, wanting to be a mother. Why is that a negative thing? It's like there's an attack on it, and people, I feel like some people are not realizing the most ancient religions had such an adoration for the divine feminine. The mother,
yes,
I mean, was worshipped.
Yes.
In all of these ancient religions, women were fought over. Men lost their lives. Battles over women. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I know women don't like to think, oh, you know, they're treating me as a possession or whatever the case is. Everything that men did was for the woman.
Yeah.
Everything. And this is not just, talking about the Roman Empire or the whatever. Let's go all the way back. Like, this is the thing, right? Because men want children. The only way they could get children is through women. So that just makes you the prized possession. And guess what? A good woman is even better than just a woman that has a uterus. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you were a good woman, it was even better. You know what I mean? Industrious, right? Because if you look at the virtuous woman, right? That Proverbs, what is it? Proverbs
31, I think.
No. Is it 31? Yes, maybe it is. It is.
Yeah.
Who can find a virtuous woman, right?
Yeah.
That woman is, she has her own business. She's still a mother. She's making clothes or whatever for her children. She's going out, she's trading stuff, she's looking, she's plotting, she's buying land. She's doing all this stuff. She's still a wife.
Yeah. She's waking up early to make the breakfast.
She's doing everything. And I'm coming from, I could speak of my own experience. I'm a wife. I love being a wife. I love being a wife. I love not just being a wife. I love being a wife to my husband.
Yes.
I am a mother of 5 living children from ages 20, almost 23 to 8. 8 years old. 4 boys, 1 girl. And I love my children. Anybody who knows, I all died and came back. Okay, I love my children. I love my husband. But guess what? I have gifts and talents. I have many businesses. Who knows? Multiple. I've been an entrepreneur for, how old is I've been an entrepreneur for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
Being a wife and being a mother never stopped me.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? I homeschool all my children.
Yep.
I love being a homemaker. I also paint. I also make music. I also write books. I have multiple clients for different things. So my point is, like, do not say that because a woman desires to be a wife and desires to have children that she can't do anything else with her life. And even if that's all I chose to do, guess what? Do you know what it is to raise good children? Do you know what it is to love a man in such a way that he faces the world, and when he steps into his home, he forgets, he enters heaven? Like, do you understand how to like master your emotions? Like, no, like I read that thing and I was like, this is so crazy, you know? And the fact that women will find their identity in an occupation is crazy to me. Because what you do has nothing to do with who you are.
Yeah.
That's your doing. Talk to me about your being.
Yes.
Talk to me about your being.
Yes.
How do you manage the things that come with biologically being female? How do you deal with your hormones? How do you master PMS? How do you rise above cravings? How do you deal with some women are going through menopause? How do you everything? Yes, with your sexuality, all of it. But you don't need to be only career driven to have to deal with these things. And just because you're a wife and a mother, it doesn't mean that you can't have, you know, a business, or you can't still be fulfilled in like using your gifts and your talents in this world. And I'm a living example of that.
Yeah.
So when I hear women say these sort of things, I'm just like, if you don't want to be a mother, just say you don't, because I don't think every woman should be a mother. I don't think everyone should be a wife.
Agreed.
Because you need to learn how to be a wife. You need to learn how to be a mother. It doesn't just come naturally for everybody. So I don't think everybody should be. But just say, I don't want to be a wife. And just say, I don't want to be a mother. You shouldn't have to put anybody down.
Yes.
Because of your choice. Just be okay with your choice. You don't want to be a mother. You don't want to be a wife. That's fine. But you don't have to make or say things to make it seem as if women who love men, women who love giving birth, having children, raising them, taking care of the home, making their home a sanctuary for their children and their husband and the rest of their family, nothing is wrong with that.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? You want to be a career-driven person? That's okay. You can do that. I will not tell you about defining womanhood for you. You get what I'm saying? So sisterhood is something, I think, sisterhood and womanhood, I think we need to really realize how the definitions of these things are being, it's like they want to just start right now in the 21st century. No.
Absolutely.
Womanhood and sisterhood existed from the dawn of time.
Yes.
And there was a way that we did it. How were we doing it before we lost it? That's the question. And then why did we lose it? You get what I'm saying? That's what needs to be asked. Like, how did we lose it? Why? What changed all of a sudden?
Yep.
To where now we don't have sisterhood. We don't have brotherhood. What changed? And when we had it, why was it working? Right?
Yeah.
So I hope that brotherhoods and sisterhoods come back together. And I think that when they do, the family bonds would be even stronger because women would get the support, you know, that they need to get from other women who are married, who are in family relationships because they understand family.
Yes.
I think it's unwise to be a married woman or a woman with children and family and a partner, and you go to seek advice from women who hate that.
Yep.
Women who hate that will never give you the tools to fix what you have. They will only tell you that you made a mistake and that you should leave it and join them and be miserable along with them.
Yep.
Right? So that's kind of, and I'm speaking from my experience of dealing with women who were feminists, hardcore, tried to live it out, and are like, never again. They've made a whole turnaround and they're like, no, this is crazy. A lot of women I know who spent their lives like chasing careers, turn back around. Now they want to have children. Birth control has messed them up. And they can't even get pregnant. And now they're like, you know what, I did all that, had all the money, had all whatever. I'm not happy. I want to know what it's like to be a mom. I wanted this, I wanted that. Now they're having difficulty. They're having difficulty finding men. They're having difficulty. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so the choice for a lot of them is, let me turn to this type of in vitro fertilization. There's still now no man in the home for these children that you're going to bring into the world. What is this? But enough women are not talking about it. So instead of telling the younger women, hey, here's what we went through. I know it sounds good when you hear it at first, but you get to a certain age, 45, 50, 60, when you have all of this stuff and you're alone and you realize, I just spent my whole life building another person's empire and I haven't built anything for myself. Even if you have dollars in your bank account, what have you given of yourself to?
Going back to Christ consciousness, like how have you expanded? Like
how have you expanded? Like, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's okay though. Again, like I said, not every woman is supposed to be a mother.
Yeah.
But guess what? Learning how to be a mother, there's a lot of skills. I spoke to a girlfriend today. She's actually the one who sent me that post, and I responded to her. And she was like, listen, after she's way older than, not way older, she's like in her 50s, right? But she's been, she's there before I was, definitely. She's done it. She's been in her business and stuff and very successful. And she said to me, listen, honestly, if I could go back, she said, Yandea, if I could go back, I would be a wife. I would be a mother. And she goes, I would just garden. She's like, I would just garden. She goes, I would just garden. And then she says, I would still do, my business, but I wouldn't be doing my business because I have to have the money. I would just be doing it because I love it. I love that. I love my work. I love what I do. And I think that's the big difference, right? I've been a single mom before, and I know what it is to have the weight of everything on your shoulders. Like everything is just, you have to deal with everything. And that, I don't think we're cut out for that. I don't think women are supposed to have, like, biologically,
it's never good. Like,
I don't think the way that stress affects our body.
Yes.
It affects our periods. It affects everything. The way stress affects a woman is very different from the way stress affects a man. And I think that it's not healthy for women to be in an environment where they're having the stress of, how am I going to feed my children? How am I going to pay for this thing? How am I going to pay for that thing? We're not supposed to be having that. Any woman who says, oh, I love it. I love to wake up and not know when you get what I'm saying? Like, I love to wake up and have that paycheck to paycheck feeling. I love to. Any woman who says that, and guess what? If it's not, it's paycheck to paycheck most times because you're not doing overtime, because you're trying to spend time with your children also. You're not taking the job that's going to demand so much from you that you can't be there for your children. Right? And so it's like, you have to make a choice. If I want children, I'll have to have them after my career. But then by that time, it will be too late. So if I have them before my career or during my career, I can't ever really push as hard as I want to
In
push
your
because
career.
I have to share my time with my children and my job. I'm literally choosing this boss that hired me or my husband and my children. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And you could feel good about yourself that you have this job and that job, but it always comes down to making a decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, I just decided that there's no way I'm putting my children in public school, and I can't afford private school. And even if I could, I still wouldn't put them there. I'm gonna educate them, and I'm gonna use whatever skills I have to make money on the side to be able to afford what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I was meeting women when I would take my daughter to ballet who would say, how do you stay with your kids for so long? I have to send my kids to school. I'll go crazy if my kids stayed with me the whole day. And I'm thinking, why are you a mom? Like, it's good. You could have your breaks, but to literally be like, they're not working. They're just at home and they have to send their kids to school. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe every woman is supposed to be a mom. But
I agree.
Because you're supposed to enjoy it, right? You're supposed to enjoy it. You have hard days, but that's where the spiritual growth comes in, and you find out what's mirroring here. Is it my patience? Is it my this, my that? And you grow, right? But yeah, the whole sisterhood thing, I think it's crazy when I think of it, and it's a good topic. I would love to hear and Duane, maybe because of sisterhood talk, I took it all over. I usually talk a lot.
No, it's
Anyways.
so good. You made so many good points.
Yeah. But there's a lot more to say on the topic, and I would love to hear what those of you who view this, let me know your thoughts. If I said something that you felt was wrong, I don't care. Like, let me know. Let me know. I'm not gonna be offended. This is the point of this, is that we talk about things, we reason. So if you have any questions, you have any comments, if you want to come on here and add your 2 cents, your pointers, your opinion, you are welcome to. Just leave a comment below. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Duane, do you have any closing remarks?
Sure. Yeah, it's such a loaded, like we have to have maybe like a part 2 on this. It's so loaded. There's so many different ways that you can go into it. But like, sisterhood is good for women and sisterhood is good for men, like for husbands. And brotherhood is good for men and it's also good for wives. Because how does your partner develop? And like, you know what I mean? When you have a good brotherhood to point out certain things that you could work on and get stronger, then you are able to show up and be a better husband. Same thing goes for the wives.
Same thing.
It's all about balance. It's all about like interdependency and connection. And I could see how when you talked about, how did the brotherhood get broken into or whatever the case may be, like I could see how slavery and like all of the stuff that went on with that could totally destroy that. You know what I mean? When men are breeded like animals, and when someone who you consider your brother is now having to breed with your wife, like all of these things. So there's so much in there. But absolutely, at the end of the day, I agree that we need to go back to the indigenous way of being, and we need to develop that now, because the symptoms that we're seeing in the world, in this conversation, in that video that you said, all of that is based on a context that we've created, especially here in North America, probably in Europe as well, but it's spreading all over the world. There's a context that we've created that has separated everyone into tiny little boxes. And we need to override that immediately, for the well-being of our families, our communities, for the future of humanity, for Earth. So this was a really good conversation. I'm looking to everybody's comments and looking to, have maybe like add more to this in a future episode.
Me too. Don't be shy. Leave your comment. I know it's a little bit of a touchy subject for some, but your opinion is important, right? Your opinion is important. It's important to us. We would like to hear what you think about it. And come, let us reason together. See you next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye-bye.
Bye.